Show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. New England pride.
Hello, my sweet friends, and welcome to another episode of New England Pride TV. I'm your host, Dale LePage, and let me start off by saying you are going to be seeing something different today because I have a co-host for the first time for the whole show. The person of the year for New England Pride TV 2017, drum roll please, the wonderful, beautiful Grace Stevens.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you, Dale.
welcome.
Yeah.
And we had six people nominated for the Person of the Year. Grace has done so much for the community. She's just an outstanding motivational speaker and such an advocate for the LGBTQ community. One of the people that was in the running said to me, I don't think you know this, one of the people, James, who owns Club Cafe, who also does a lot of good things.
James.
He said, I am honored to be nominated, but if I have any say in it, please, I'd like to nominate Grace.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's such an honor.
That's how much people adore you.
Thank you.
And speaking of adoring you,
Yes.
we come bearing gifts. The New England Pride TV Person of the Year Award to the lovely Grace Stevens. So here you go, my love. This is yours.
Thank you so much.
And let me just tell you right away
Yep.
that I've known you for a few years, and you have inspired me also. You know that. You've taught me so much. So I'd like you to say a little bit to the viewers at home about what you do, what your mission statement is. Let me just start off by saying, like, you're the author of 2 books, which have received a wonderful praise. And I know you as one of the major founders of First Event, correct?
I am not one of the founders. I'm one of the leaders. First Event has been going on for 37 years.
37 years.
So I've been involved with the last 7 years.
Well, I've only
Yeah.
known you for 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a founder to me, baby.
Thank
So
you.
let's talk a little bit about
Yeah.
what your mission is, and you do a lot of motivational speaking,
Right.
and tell me about that.
So first, before we start, I'd like to give a gift back to you. Okay? And I'm going to give you one of my mugs. And as you can see, it has my heart that says, live your
It says,
truth.
live your truth,
Right.
which is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
So, but thank you so much for this award. I'm like honored. And as I said earlier, for people that know me, you know, it takes a lot for it to get me speechless. And to receive award is, I'm almost speechless, but I will find a few words here. One, I've been involved since I have come to terms with being transgender myself. In 2008 and 2009, I discovered the Tiffany Club of New England, which is one of the oldest support groups for transgender people in the world, and probably the only one that has a brick and mortar facility in Waltham, Massachusetts. And within a year, I became a member of the board, and a couple of years later, in 2009, I went to my First Event conference, and it changed my life.
What was that
knowing-
like, going there for the first time?
It was going to a fantasy world, knowing that nothing is impossible.
I love
That whatever is inside you, you can live your true life. And I was struggling with my issues of gender variance and hiding it for well over 50 to 60 years.
You transitioned at age
64.
64.
Right. And my first book, No Maybe Yes, Living My Truth, is the story of me dealing with all the voices inside of me saying, this is who you are, but you can't be that. Was that struggle and that fight to really live one truth. And I was married for 25 years. I have 3 adult children. I am so blessed. I have 2 grandchildren. And I've not lost anyone in my life. So
That's wonderful to be able to say that.
yes.
We had a guest on our last show who really did have problems with people leaving his life because of it.
Right,
Yeah.
which brings me to my mission. And the mission that I am dedicating my life to is the idea of living your truth, being authentic in the world. And, you know, if I can inspire anyone, if I can motivate anyone.
And you do.
Thank you. For Transition into 64 is how can people learn to go inside, totally accept who they are and love themselves so that they can live their true lives. And this has nothing to do with gender identity or sexual orientation. It's true for everyone in the world.
Right.
And once you reach the point that you are willing to live your truth, can you also then focus outside and learn to allow everyone else to live their truth and accept them for who they
That's
are.
very hard to do for a lot of people.
Not who you want them to be. Right.
That's really hard for a lot of people to do that.
And the message is, if you don't do that, as you said, you're not really a loving person.
Right.
And if you
Right.
do not love yourself, you have nothing to give away to anyone else.
That's very true. I know so many people who do so much for so many people, but forget that they need to feed their own soul too.
Has to come first.
Yeah, it does. Now, you go to many different organizations, schools, colleges.
I train therapist organizations.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I'm also a therapist. I'm not practicing now, but I'm involved in a number of different communities. On the trip I was recently at, I was in Santa Cruz, California, and I actually did a full day worth of training. I spoke for 7.5 hours, training a group
Wow.
of therapists, some parents, some community activists.
That is incredibly
was
impressive.
pretty
The only thing I can do
awesome.
for 7.5 hours is sleep. Yeah.
I'm so far past that.
Now, you just came from a cross-the-country tour. Did you speak at every stop, or was it more of a...
No, that was the
personal
only
journey?
speaking gig. But again, I was selected as a writer in residence on
Yes.
Amtrak, and I traveled 7,238 miles on the trains throughout the entire month of May,
Yeah.
stopping in Atlanta, New Orleans, San Antonio, Anaheim, LA, Santa Cruz, San Francisco, and then taking 4 days last weekend coming back on the train.
Now, do you need a
And
vacation from your vacation?
no, I want to go back.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Now, on top of the motivational speaking, the Tiffany Club, first event, you are also a contributor to the Huffington Post.
I've been writing on Huffington Post since 2015. There's over 100 blogs on Huffington Post. You can also see them on my website. My second book is the compilation of blogs
Of
from the
these
first
blogs?
year.
Okay.
So there were so many, but I did compile them. I'm still writing a little bit. My Amtrak journey is up on my website. There are
Okay.
about 15, 16 blogs of a day-by-day diary of what I experienced with lots of pictures.
Now,
So-
can we touch, go back for a second and just touch on what first event is? We talked about Tiffany Club for a minute
Yeah.
the first time you went there. First event, I was lucky enough to be a part of a couple of them, and the feeling of love and community and just pure joy, it touches my heart and everybody else's.
Thank you.
So how did that come about?
So first event has been a event within the transgender community, as I said, for 37 years.
Yes.
When I joined Tiffany Club in 2008, again, I saw my first one, and within a few years, I volunteered to, be one of the leaders of First
yeah,
Event,
yeah.
and I wanted to grow the community and grow it.
And you
And-
have, it's
And
incredible.
over the years, this past January, we have moved to the Best Western in Marlborough,
Yeah.
and we've had over 800 attendees come to this from a Wednesday through a Sunday. We
From
have
all over the country?
from all over the world. From all over the world, people come. But we have created a therapist training program to learn more how to work with people who are gender variant.
Yeah.
We have created this awesome youth and family program. So what is the most amazing thing is seeing parents and seeing young transgender children as young as 6 come running around.
Together at this
Coming
event.
together. One of the nicest things that I heard was one of the mothers of a trans daughter said she was so excited to see trans adults because communities don't often intersect. And what my dream is and goal is to have programs for male to female transgender people, female to male, non-binary people, along with cross-dressers, along with people who transition, just everybody under the umbrella, the wide umbrella of gender variance, wherever you are, whoever you are.
Big umbrella of love.
And it has nothing to do with one's sexuality, their orientation. It's who you are and live your truth. And the most heartwarming piece of this conference is we know we save lives.
You do.
People come without knowing what's possible, just
Right.
like I did in 2009, and nothing's impossible. There is a risk that you will lose people, but you will also gain more of yourself and another community
beautiful.
that you may not have had before.
Now, we're winding down on time for this segment, but thank you for the mug. Where can our viewers perhaps purchase one of these amazing mugs or t-shirts?
So feel free to go to my website and see everything that I do, which is www.liveyourtruth, that's liveyourtruth.net.
Right.
And explore everything on it. And there's a store with my books, my shirts, my mugs. And if you like something,
Perhaps you might want to purchase it.
or just explore. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be back with more New England Pride right after this, and Grace is staying with us.
New England Pride TV is brought to you by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Dofrane, Boston wedding photographer, Paul Chasen Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Creative Cabinets, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, Fallon Health, making our communities healthy, and Crown Bakery.
Hey kids, we are back on New England Pride TV, and it is a love face. It's a love face. It's a love fest at the desk right now, because not only am I joined by my co-host Grace Stevens, but we are now joined by the wonderful and extremely informative Michelle Miller, who is one of the founders of the Central Mass Lyme Foundation.
Yes.
Now, I first heard about you when I was looking to learn about Lyme disease, and you were the first name that popped up. So you're obviously getting the word out there.
Yes.
And then I learned your reason for creating the Central Mass Lyme Foundation. Can you tell our viewers at home what brought you to this?
Thank you, Dale, for having me
Oh,
on New England
it's
Pride
our pleasure,
TV.
absolutely our pleasure.
I'm so happy to be here. Raising awareness is what my husband Ken and I do. 4 years ago, we formed the Central Mass Lyme Foundation in honor of my mother, who had late-stage Lyme disease
Before it was diagnosed.
before it was diagnosed.
What year was this?
2013, she passed away, but in 2011, she was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, which I now know is really end-stage Lyme disease. So when one doesn't get properly tested and treated, it ends up being diagnosed as MS, Parkinson's, ALS. Lyme disease is the great imitator because
Oh
it mimics
my God.
so many other diseases.
like Grace earlier, I am speechless right now. I had no idea that even occurred, and I'm blown away. I'm literally blown away right now. I had no idea.
Yeah. So when my mother passed away, I had to clean out her house and found journals of many, many years of symptoms. And no one was really listening to all the symptoms that she had and put all of it together.
What years did these journals start?
Many, through when they got first married. I mean, my mother was a writer.
So what year do you think that she was?
2008,
She was getting-
2009,
she was
she
getting her
started getting
symptoms?
vertigo,
Okay.
night sweats,
Okay.
which can be for women,
Right.
menopause, right?
Right.
No, that is a co-infection of Lyme disease, Babesia, which is very common in our state. Massachusetts is the second highest state for cases of Lyme disease, and those are the ones that get reported. What about the ones that, like I'm sure Grace will share her story after, that don't get properly diagnosed? So they don't get treated,
Right.
and then they get sicker and sicker. And it's unfortunate, but there's many other people like my mother who have passed from this disease.
Do you think doctors now are paying more attention to the possibility of Lyme disease?
Lyme literate doctors are.
Lyme literate doctors.
It's a loaded question.
Okay.
Yeah, Lyme literate doctors will make a clinical diagnosis.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the majority of the other physicians out there will need a positive ELISA test. And I can tell you that that ELISA test is only 49.7% accurate.
Okay.
So
And that's the
many are tested.
And still, that's the most accurate out there.
That's the protocol. Yeah.
Okay.
A Lyme literate physician will test with a Lyme specific test from Palo Alto, California, that is almost 99.9% accurate.
And
So
we
wouldn't
are,
you rather
we are wondering
know-
why more doctors aren't doing that. Right?
Very controversial. Everyone should have a Lyme literate physician.
Now, what if a patient requests that test?
That's when they can contact our foundation.
Okay.
We have a toll-free Lyme line
Okay.
that they can reach out to me. It goes right to my cell phone, and we help them get the proper testing and connect them with a Lyme literate doctor.
Now, speaking of proper testing, you have a very interesting story on this subject.
I do. In 2003, I had Lyme disease, and my understanding is that it's in my system and will always be in my system.
It
but-
remains in your system?
Right. I was at a seminar, a training in Western Connecticut in 2003, and I came home. There was no bullseye indication of any mark, but I started getting flu-like symptoms. I started having high temperatures, 104, and then chills, and it went on for days and days and days. So I was going from my couch to my bed, to my couch to my bed.
Did you just think you had the flu?
I thought I had the flu, and after 4 or 5 days, I made an appointment with my doctor to say, help me. And I went to my doctor, and they said, well, you have the flu. And let's take a blood test, but it's going to take us a while for this blood test to work. And I said, how much is a while? And they said weeks to do that. But they would not give me anything for it. I went home, the symptoms continued for another few weeks,
Did they get
another
worse
2
and
weeks.
worse, or?
They were just coming and going, and there'd be
Wax and
moments
wane.
of okay, and then high fever, chills, and I was incapacitated. At the time, I was out of work, so it really didn't affect, but I was useless for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then one day I started, I was investigating Lyme disease, and I started getting secondary symptoms of Lyme disease where my jaw was starting to lock, my knees were starting to lock.
Is that a common TMJ?
Oh, yes, yep. Swollen knees, brain fog. If your immune system isn't strong enough. And as we age, our immune system weakens. As we get vaccinated, our immune system weakens. We have to eat right. We have to take care of ourselves to keep our immune system strong.
Now, you have a Central Mass Lyme conference.
Yes.
There's a few minutes remaining.
Okay.
Can you look into camera 3, your camera,
Okay.
and
All
tell
right.
us the date and
All right.
how people can find out the information?
Okay, so the date is Saturday, September 23rd at the Worcester Technical High School. This is our 3rd conference. We are hoping to have at least 775 people.
I know you
That
have
day,
hundreds of people.
we have had hundreds of people
Yes,
in the
yeah,
past, but
yeah.
our board's mission is to really keep raising awareness to the general public.
Right.
They have to hear the truth about this disease.
And what's your website, please?
It's www.centralmasslyme.org.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It has been an eye-opening interview for me. Thank you so
you.
much. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hey everyone, it's me, Miss Lady Sabrina. Hi Dale. I'm coming to you from the beautiful state of Florida in Orlando, where I was here for Gay Days. Fabulous time. But we have other things to talk about. We have a new letter. Let's get to it. I broke up with my boyfriend due to being relocated for work. He's moved on and I have not. We were together for about 2 years and the distance has made me realize how much was wrong with my being there in the relationship. I guess what I'm curious about is how to move forward knowing that I was the flawed participant and that it wouldn't have worked much longer if I wasn't relocated. How do I move on and fix what's really broken in me? Sincerely, Pining in Poughkeepsie. Okay, doll. Well, here it is. You know, when someone is in your life, they're there for a reason. And it's usually to meet a need you have expressed. You know, they come through to assist you with difficulty, to provide you with guidance or support, you know, to aid you physically, emotionally, or spiritually. You know, they may seem like a godsend, and they are, but they're there for a reason. They're there for the reason you need them to be, which means you have to learn something. You have to learn something about yourself. And it's not always comfortable and it's not always easy, and the emotion is usually what helps drive the force for change. Does it mean that the relationship survives? No. But what it does mean is that the reason why they were put in your path is clear. What you needed to change, what you needed to see, what you needed to learn has occurred. You know, your job is to accept the lesson, love the person, and put what you've learned to use in other relationships. You know, not just relationships, but other areas of your life. You know, it's said that love is blind, but friendship is clairvoyant. When you're having thoughts or feelings and you want to bounce them off your friends because your friends know you best. But if you find that you're not reaching a level of satisfaction or change through your friends, then it's time to seek out someone else, a licensed professional, someone who has a little more tools in their toolbox, someone that can guide you and help you and push you in ways that maybe your friends can. But know this, you're not broken and you're not permanently damaged. All you are is in a state of transition. And when you're done, you will emerge happier, healthier, and ready to love again. I hope this finds you well. Love and light, Lady Sabrina.
Hey kids, now it's time for our segment called Out with Joe Mangiacotti and the ever lovable Teddy. But before we get into the Out with Joe segment, let's just do a really quick talk about the Music Minute.
Oh, absolutely. So everybody can listen to Out with Joe vignette on WCRN AM 830. As every Saturday morning at 7:30, we profile a restaurant event as well as Tina Billing.
Yep.
We'll do our Music Minute, and that's a must listen to. And if you go to Out with Joe Facebook page, you get an early, like Friday night, and it lists all of the local bands and music happening, and from
Everything's
Boston
fun.
to Springfield, and you can make your weekend plans. It's
Fantastic.
really good.
What do we have for today's Out with Joe segment?
Well, we're going to take a look at Worcester Pride's annual drag brunch. For over 20 years, Worcester Pride has put this drag brunch on, and of course it's run in June, which is National Gay Month, and their Pride, Worcester Pride, is in September. But they do the drag brunch in June, and we just went by it, and it is fantastic because it's so important to the community that there's a venue for these ladies to practice their craft.
All right.
And of course, all the proceeds go to Worcester's Pride Week in September.
Let's take a look.
So here we go. Welcome to this edition of New England Pride TV. I'm Joe Mangiacotti for Out with Joe, and joining me is Peter Bacchiacchi, president of Worcester Pride. In this month's edition, we're going to take a look at the annual Worcester Drag Brunch. Peter, thank you for joining us here on New England Pride TV.
Absolutely my pleasure, Joe.
All right, well, we're here. We enjoyed an incredible show here at the annual Drag Brunch. And just how many years has it been annual?
It started about 20 years ago. Then I think we lost a couple of years somewhere, and then about 4 years ago we revived it and moved the month of the year, and it's been going ever since.
Now, why is this an important activity to Worcester Pride for both the community and, of course, fundraising reasons?
Well, the drag community is a very important aspect of the Pride community in general, and it is a significant fundraiser for Worcester Pride as well.
And has it always been, or have you finally turned a profit, as they say?
We have finally turned a profit, Joe, yes. It was not always a fundraiser, yes.
And who participates, and who is it open to, Peter?
Well, the event has been organized the last couple of years by the winners of our pageant, the Miss Gay Worcester title winner from September. So they involve all of their drag sisters, basically, in performing at the drag brunch.
And performing at the drag brunch, by the way, we, as you can probably see, is at 55 Pearl Street, which is known as the Bull Mansion, and this is the first year you've held it here, and you moved the venue here.
Because we sold out last year's venue by far. I mean, we had standing room only. So we came here because it is a substantially larger venue, and we sold out this year as well, about 2 weeks in advance. So,
all right. Well, tell us a little bit about the participants and who we're seeing today in the annual drag brunch.
Everyone from the community as a whole attended the brunch. We had some of the performers were local. Some of them came from as far away as Providence to come up and help us out today, and a few even from Western Mass. And so it was a really nice community-wide event.
Absolutely. And, of course, every year you're wondering just how many people you're coming, so they can contact you through Worcester Pride if they need to.
Sure. We can always be contacted at worcesterpride@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Worcester MA Pride.
Very good. Joe Mangiacotti and Peter Bacchiacchi for New England Pride TV.
Hey kids, now it's time for our Pride Pet segment. Let me just say that we're so proud of Pride Pet segment because we've actually found homes for some of our pets that we have featured. So let's get right to it. This month we would like to introduce you to the New England All Breeds Rescue. Their phone number is 774-641-3441, and their website is neabr.org. They're an all breeds rescue, and let's see who we have this month.
Meet Iris, female, Basset Hound mix, 3 years old. Meet Jack Daniels, what a cutie, male, Beagle Hound mix, 6 months old. Meet Scylla Sausage, big girl, female, Great Dane mix, 4 years old. And Sista, 8-year-old female terrier.
All right. And thanks for joining us today, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to end the show as we always do. Please don't be afraid to shine your light, because
you might be lighting the way for someone in need.
For New England Pride TV, see you next time. Yeah. Tune in, show us you've got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us
You got New England pride, show us. You've got New England pride. Shabba-ba-ba-ba-ba-dee. New England